On the night of October 11, 1837, a young woman named Mary Stevens was walking from her place of employment in Battersea, South London, back to her residence in nearby Lavender Hill. She was a servant, returning home after a long day. The streets were quiet. Gas lamps cast occasional pools of yellow light through the autumn fog. Stevens later swore an affidavit before the Lord Mayor of London describing what happened next. A figure leapt from the shadows beside a high wall. The figure was tall, thin, and dressed in tight-fitting white clothing. He had eyes that seemed to glow red. He pinned her against the wall, breathed fire from his mouth into her face, tore her clothes, and clawed at her with hands that felt cold like dead flesh and ended in metallic claws. She screamed. Other servants from nearby houses came running. The figure leapt over a high wall, perhaps 3 meters tall, and disappeared. Within weeks, similar reports had begun spreading through London and surrounding suburbs. Coachmen reported a leaping figure terrifying their horses. Young women reported being attacked by a man who could spring impossible distances. The newspapers gave him a name: Spring-Heeled Jack. For the next 60 years, sightings of Spring-Heeled Jack would be reported across England. From 1837 through about 1890, hundreds of encounters were documented in newspapers. Witnesses included clergy, police officers, military personnel, and ordinary citizens of every background. Sworn statements were taken by magistrates and the Lord Mayor's office. Special police patrols were assigned to areas with frequent sightings. The figure was never officially identified. He remains one of the most extensively documented unsolved mysteries in British history. The first wave of sightings, in 1837 and 1838, was the most intense. The Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, established a special investigative committee in January 1838 after receiving sworn statements from multiple witnesses. The committee's report, presented to the Common Council on January 19, concluded that something genuinely strange was occurring but could not identify the perpetrator. The most detailed first-hand accounts came from Jane Alsop, an 18-year-old woman who lived in Bow, in East London. On the night of February 20, 1838, Alsop answered a knock at her door. A figure standing on the doorstep claimed to be a police constable and asked her to bring a candle because Spring-Heeled Jack had been spotted in the street. As she handed him the candle, he threw off a black cloak revealing tight-fitting white clothing, breathed fire from his mouth, and grabbed her by the neck. He attempted to drag her into the lane. Her sister rescued her. The attacker fled, leaping over a high garden wall in a single bound. Alsop's father reported the attack to police the next day. The newspapers picked up the story immediately. By February 27, Spring-Heeled Jack had become a national obsession. The accounts followed a consistent pattern. The figure was tall, sometimes described as enormously tall. He wore tight-fitting clothing, often white or metallic, that seemed to catch the gaslight strangely. He could leap distances of 2 to 3 meters horizontally and similar heights vertically. He breathed fire, possibly some kind of flame-producing chemical. His eyes were described as glowing red, though this might be reflection from gas lamps. His hands were sometimes described as ending in metal hooks. He attacked predominantly young women but occasionally targeted men. He laughed maniacally. He could appear and disappear with extraordinary speed. The geographic spread of sightings expanded from London to the home counties, to Liverpool, to Sheffield, and eventually as far north as Glasgow. The peak intensity was in the 1840s through 1870s. By the 1890s, sightings had largely ceased. The last credible reports came from the Liverpool docks area in the early 1900s. So what was Spring-Heeled Jack? Theory 1 is that he was a real person, an aristocratic prankster who began the attacks for amusement. The most popular candidate is Henry de la Poer Beresford, the 3rd Marquess of Waterford, an Irish nobleman with a reputation for outrageous behavior. He was tall, athletic, fond of practical jokes, and was known to have made bets involving leaping over high walls. Some attacks occurred in areas he was visiting. He died in 1859, but Spring-Heeled Jack sightings continued for 30 years afterward.